consultant isn't the same as a full-time job. So, and consultant usually typically get paid more than a full-time job. So you may be able to get away with 3 days a week and working 2 days a week on your own. It's a good way of doing it. You know, again, the ideal is to put 80 hours a week into the business you're trying to start because that comes with a passion. But sometimes you just can't. You know, you gotta pay the rent. You have to, you know. So the consultant things are pretty good. I've seen enough companies doing that, starting off with a consultant. And
you see it a lot in service areas, like a web development company. Someone may have an idea for a web development business, and you know, in the advertising space, and they've got to need a team of 10 people. They need to raise money to get the right mix of designers and videographers and whatever else is needed. But already they have a skill set in helping companies develop websites as an individual or as a group of individuals, and so it's off the critical path of what the company is trying to do, but it's within the skill set of the people there, and so it's just a way to keep yourself and also put a little money into the company, perhaps, to move it forward. So the themes are being practical and prudent, I think. Yeah. You know, that there's a practicality to this, but there's also risks that need to be carefully evaluated. That, you know, there's a project that I'm involved with a guy that's begging to invest money, but we know that the terms will be unacceptable, and really they're looking for a set of they have a set of objectives that lie outside of what the company is actually you know, proposing to do. But it's very tempting because we've been working for a long time to raise $300,000 to develop a prototype, and he's saying it can be yours. But it's a very squirrely kind of deal.
Yeah, the best way to get to angels and to venture capitalists is through networking. And you may say that, well, I know nobody who knows a venture capitalist, I know nobody who knows an angel group. But you probably know someone who knows someone who knows someone. And that's basically the best way of doing it. I, for another reason, just bought a database of venture capitalists and private equity firms. There was 19,000 names. It's worldwide. Now, you're really tempted, if somebody's trying to start a company and want venture capital angel money, to say, well, I'll just upload this into Outlook and send out, you know, 5,000 a day, and that just never works. I think you're hurting yourself more than helping you. But to answer your question, you have to do it through networking. You know, go and there's somebody that you know who knows somebody who knows somebody. And that is the best way of getting to a venture capitalist, getting to an angel. You may want to try to cold call, but they're not going to probably take your call.
Angels have changed. There are still individual angels, and there are collections of angels. And the individual angels, you look at the career of that individual and what really, you know, turns them on. And if you're in business X and they've only done Y, forget it. Because individual angels will often get very involved with the management of the company too. So in picking an individual angel, you're picking an operating partner as well as an investor. That's one thing. The group of angels are very easy to look at in terms of their portfolio. You know, what does their portfolio say about their interests? If you've got a media company and they're only in, you know, hardcore IT, forget it. You know, it's not worth it. So it's a lot of the preparation piece of my equation is doing your homework and don't try to change. You're not going to change any of these investors' minds in terms of their priorities. The one thing I would want to add about private is on the private equity piece. This is irrelevant to a startup situation. Private equity does not get involved with startups. They will only get involved where there's a operating concern that has probably strong revenues that need need financing. I believe we're about to go into a golden era for private equity. if you're not if you don't have to use a lot of leverage, if they don't have to use a lot of leverage to make an investment, because there are a great number of weakened companies out there who need financing, and the credit problem has really hurt a lot of businesses. But I think for the most part, people probably are talking about, I got this idea, I want to launch it. This is an entrepreneurship conference, not a conference of mature businesses looking for financing help.
There's other venues, too, that you can go and have a pretty good chance of meeting these people. You know, it's like the MIT Enterprise Forum, you know, which is, it's pretty well attended. You know, there's business plan competitions. So if you can try to put yourself in a place where you would have an opportunity to meet a venture capitalist or meet an investor. And, you know, these people aren't God, I mean, either. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't want to approach them, or, you know, if they see them at an event, they don't want to go up and introduce themselves. But, I mean, they're fine people, too. You know, so you really shouldn't feel hesitant to go and introduce yourself.
If you're a shy individual thinking about starting a business, don't change your mind about starting the business, but definitely decide you're going to have a partner, and go find someone who's outgoing, who will get excited about your idea, who will help you bring it to people's attention, because it's a lot of, you know, sort of bird dogging. You know, it takes a long time. You are optimistic if you think you're starting to raise money and you'll have money in 6 months. That used to be kind of the rule of thumb about a hot idea, you know, not the internet bubble years maybe, but now, you know, if you're starting to raise money and it's a significant amount of money, and you have to talk to any of the institutional folks, you're talking 6 to 12 months, I think, it's a tough time. However, having said that, the kickoff speech. Yeah, by Tom. He indicated that the National Venture Capital Association, which is the industry organization for venture capitalists, expect funding in 2009 to be roughly at the level of 2008. So it's not, you know, we can be gloom and doom, but he also, I think it's fair to say, it's accurate to say, he encouraged people to pursue their ideas. You know, there's a lot of interesting things that happen in down cycles, and it is a chance to grab attention, and it's a chance to, have surprising growth opportunities as we come out of it. So there's a lot of money out there, and another slide he put up that went up very quickly is there's cash. Cash is 60%. Their cash out in the U.S. is 60% of GDP. And so there's a lot of liquidity out there. It's just that people are scared out of their minds. And so we're going through kind of a psychological phase where people, you know, don't want to make the investments. But, you know, being there at that time probably means there's less, you know, there are a lot of people not pushing their businesses now, not trying to get investment because they say, oh, it's a terrible environment. You know, so you know, there's a chance for visibility that you might not have otherwise during this kind of a time.
Yeah, best thing to do is to persevere, because times will get better. You know, when times get better, if you persevere, you're there. I mean, it's like when the internet boom first started. I mean, the people who were there, I mean, they were not saying that you don't have any, you know, your business plan doesn't make sense. A lot of business plans back then, because they persevered and they were pioneers, they got funded. So if you persevere and you stick with it, you will probably get funding.